You are standing in the shower right now, or you were this morning, and you reached for that bar of soap the same way you reach for it every single day without thinking. You lathered it up, you scrubbed your face, your arms, your body. Maybe you washed your child in it. Maybe you have been using the same brand for 20 years because your mother used it and her mother used it before her, and it has always just been there on the edge of the bathtub without a single question asked. That soap feels clean. It smells clean. You rinse it off and you step out of that shower feeling like you did the right thing. I need you to sit with something for a moment, because what is in that soap did not go down the drain. Some of it went into you. Your skin is the largest organ you have. And unlike your stomach, which filters, unlike your liver, which processes, your skin absorbs what you put on it and delivers it almost directly into your bloodstream. No checkpoint, no filtering system, straight in. Every bar of soap you have been using every single day of your life has been delivering its ingredients into your body through your skin before you even finished rinsing it off. For most of the soaps on store shelves in America, the ingredient list sitting on the back of that bar or that bottle is one of the most poorly understood pieces of text in the American home. People read food labels now. They flip the bread over. They check the cereal. But they have never once thought to flip the soap over. Because soap just cleans you. How complicated can it be? In 2004, a woman named Dr. Philippa Darbre changed that question forever. Dr. Darbre is not a blogger. She is not a YouTuber. She is a reader in oncology at the University of Reading in the United Kingdom. She has spent decades studying the relationship between chemical exposures and cancer biology. In 2004, she and her colleagues published a paper in the Journal of Applied Toxicology, one of the most rigorous peer-reviewed scientific journals in the field of chemical safety. The paper was titled Concentrations of Parabens in Human Breast Tumors, and what it found stopped the cosmetics industry in its tracks. Dr. Darbre and her team took tissue samples from 20 women with breast cancer. They analyzed those samples for parabens. Parabens are preservatives. They are in soap, they are in shampoo, they are in body wash, they are in moisturizer, they are in deodorant, they are in thousands of personal care products you use every single week. And Dr. Darbre found them, intact, inside the breast tumor tissue of those 20 women, in 18 out of 20 samples. Not traces, not contamination, intact parabens, the same form they were in when they were applied to the skin, which told her exactly what she needed to know about how they got there. They came in through the skin, and they stayed. In 2012, Dr. Darbre and Mr. Lester Barr, a consultant surgeon at the University Hospital of South Manchester, published a follow-up study. This time they took 160 tissue samples from 40 women undergoing mastectomies for breast cancer, and the results were even more alarming. Every single one of the 40 women had at least one paraben in their breast tissue. Every single one. And 60% of all the samples contained 5 different types of parabens. 5. In the tissue. From women who had never been asked what soap they used. Now I want to be honest with you. The way Dr. Darbre herself was honest in her findings. She said clearly that detecting parabens in breast tissue does not prove that parabens caused the tumors. That connection has not been established. What her research proved is that parabens from personal care products applied to the skin can penetrate the body and accumulate in breast tissue. That is not a small finding. That is the finding that should have changed how every soap company in America formulated its products. It is the finding that prompted the European Union to restrict several types of parabens in cosmetics. It is the finding the FDA acknowledged and then did not act on decisively. And it is the finding that 10 of the most popular soap brands in America have been able to ignore for over 20 years, while they kept selling you the same formula. Because there is no law that requires them to change it. Let me say that again. There is no law that requires them to change it. The FDA regulates cosmetics under the Federal Food, Drug, and Cosmetic Act. Under that act, cosmetic manufacturers do not have to prove that their products are safe before putting them on the market. They do not have to disclose every ingredient that falls under the category of fragrance. They do not have to reformulate when independent research raises concerns. They wait for proof of harm at a scale that forces regulatory action. And while they wait, you wash yourself with it every morning. Now let us get into the brands. 10 on the avoid list, 3 that are actually safe. Stay with this all the way to the end, because the brand at number 1 is the one sitting in more American bathrooms than any other soap on earth. And what is behind that label is the most important thing on this list. Number 10. Soft soap. Soft soap is one of the most purchased liquid hand soaps in America. It is in kitchens, it is in bathrooms, it is in office break rooms. The price is low, the pump bottle is convenient, the marketing is clean and cheerful. And for years, soft soap contained triclosan, an antibacterial chemical that the FDA banned from consumer hand soaps in 2016 because manufacturers could not provide sufficient evidence that it was safe, could not prove it was safe. That was the FDA's conclusion after years of data collection. And soft soap had it in the formula for years before that ban took effect. Soft soap has since reformulated to remove triclosan. What replaced it is benzalkonium chloride, in some antibacterial varieties, a chemical that is now undergoing the same scrutiny that triclosan faced before it was banned. The current soft soap formula across most product lines contains synthetic fragrance. That word fragrance on a personal care label is a legal loophole. Under FDA regulations, fragrance is considered a trade secret, and manufacturers are not required to disclose what is inside it. The fragrance in your soap could contain phthalates. Phthalates are plasticizers linked to testosterone reduction in men and developmental disruption in children. A 2021 study in Environmental Health Perspectives found that men with higher phthalate exposure had significantly lower testosterone levels. The fragrance in soft soap does not tell you what is inside it. That is by design. Number 9. Irish Spring. Irish Spring has been in American bathrooms since 1972. The green soap with the fresh outdoor scent. The one that feels aggressively clean in a way that makes you think something serious just happened in that shower. The scent is the product. Everything about Irish Spring is built around that smell. And that smell comes from a synthetic fragrance blend that Irish Spring does not disclose the full contents of. The Irish Spring formula contains sodium lauryl sulfate, known as SLES, which during manufacturing can be contaminated with 1004-dioxane. 1004-dioxane is classified by the EPA as a likely carcinogen. It is not an ingredient Irish Spring adds intentionally. It is a byproduct of the manufacturing process that forms during the ethoxylation of sodium lauryl sulfate, and it is not required to appear on the ingredient label because it is technically a contaminant rather than an ingredient, so you cannot see it listed. You would not know to look for it, and every time you lather up with Irish Spring, it may be delivering a carcinogenic contaminant directly into your skin. The European Union requires manufacturers to test for and limit 1,4-dioxane. The United States has no mandatory limit for 1,4-dioxane in personal care products. The outdoor freshness on the packaging is real. The chemistry inside the bar is a different story. Number 8. Dial Antibacterial Soap. Dial built its entire brand identity around the word antibacterial. For decades, that word meant protection. It meant your family was safer. Dial was killing germs. That is the promise. In 2016, the FDA issued its ruling on triclosan. The conclusion was that manufacturers had not provided sufficient evidence that triclosan-containing antibacterial soaps were more effective than plain soap and water for preventing illness. Not more effective. At the same time, the research on triclosan's risks had grown substantial. Thyroid hormone disruption, endocrine system interference, contribution to antibiotic resistance, potential carcinogenic properties. The FDA's own hazard review flagged all of it. Dial removed triclosan from its formula after the ban. The antibacterial mechanism in current Dial products shifted to benzalkonium chloride. Benzalkonium chloride is currently under FDA review for the same safety questions that brought triclosan down. The word antibacterial is still on the packaging. The ingredient doing the antibacterial work is under regulatory scrutiny for being unsafe. The Dial formula also contains synthetic fragrance, dimethyl-hydantoin, in some product lines, which is a formaldehyde-releasing preservative, and parabens in certain varieties. Formaldehyde-releasing preservatives are exactly what they sound like. They release small amounts of formaldehyde to prevent microbial growth in the product. Formaldehyde is a known human carcinogen. It is on California's Proposition 65 list. It is in your soap. Number 7. Safeguard. Safeguard is owned by Procter & Gamble. It is positioned specifically as a family soap, the one parents buy for their children. The pediatric angle is everywhere in Safeguard's marketing. Protect your family. Keep your children safe. The word safeguard is doing the same trust-building work as the word safe in a food label or the word natural on a chicken package. It implies a standard that the ingredient panel does not support. Safeguard contains parabens, specifically methylparaben and propylparaben. These are the exact paraben types that Dr. Darbre found intact inside breast tumor tissue. They are also the parabens that the European Union has restricted in cosmetic products due to their endocrine-disrupting properties. The EU looked at the same research and decided the precautionary standard required action. The FDA looked at the same research and decided to wait. Procter & Gamble sells Safeguard across Europe in reformulated versions that comply with EU paraben restrictions. They sell the paraben-containing version in the United States. The bar your child is using every day is formulated to a lower safety standard than what the same company is legally required to sell in European markets. That is not an accident. That is a regulatory arbitrage decision. Number 6. Caress. Caress is owned by Unilever. It is marketed as a luxury bathing experience. The packaging is gold and soft and feminine. The language on the bottle is about indulgence and skin nourishment. It is one of the most heavily purchased women's body washes in America, and the marketing connects it specifically to femininity, beauty, and self-care. The ingredient panel behind the luxury marketing contains parabens, synthetic fragrance, and sodium lauryl sulfate. For a product marketed at women as a form of self-care, the paraben content is particularly concerning, given Dr. Darbre's research on paraben accumulation in female breast tissue. The women buying Caress as a self-care ritual are applying parabens to their skin every single day. Their skin is absorbing them. Dr. Darbre's 2012 follow-up study found parabens in the breast tissue of every single woman in the study group, without distinction. None of those women were asked which soap they used. The Caress bottle promises to nourish you. The paraben inside it is accumulating in tissue Dr. Darbre spent her career studying. Number 5. Old Spice Body Wash. Old Spice is owned by Procter & Gamble. It is the most recognizable men's grooming brand in America. The advertising is loud and confident and funny, and it has created one of the most durable brand associations in personal care history. It has also diverted attention so effectively from the ingredient panel that most men who use Old Spice have never once considered reading the back of the bottle. Old Spice body wash contains synthetic fragrance, sodium lauryl sulfate, and in several product lines, parabens. There is also a documented history of skin sensitivity reactions to Old Spice products. In 2012, over 300 reports of skin rash, chemical burns, and severe irritation were submitted to the FDA related to Old Spice and secret deodorant products, both owned by Procter & Gamble. A class action lawsuit was filed. The reaction was attributed to a chemical preservative in the formulation. The settlement was reached. The formulation of those specific products was quietly changed. The advertising never mentioned it. Most men who were using Old Spice during that period never knew it happened. The funny commercial ran the same week the settlement was being processed. Procter & Gamble is very good at advertising. They are less forthcoming about the chemistry. Number 4. Axe Body Wash. Axe is owned by Unilever. It is marketed specifically and aggressively at teenage boys. The entire brand positioning is built around attracting the opposite sex. The advertising shows young women unable to control themselves around the AXE scent. Every element of the marketing is designed to reach a demographic that is young enough to be particularly vulnerable to endocrine-disrupting chemicals and old enough to make their own purchase decisions without parental oversight. Axe Body Wash contains synthetic fragrance, which, as we have established, can contain phthalates without disclosing them. Phthalates are linked to testosterone reduction and developmental disruption. A product marketed to teenage boys to make them more attractive to women contains chemicals that peer-reviewed research has associated with reduced testosterone levels. The irony is not subtle. Axe also contains sodium lauryl sulfate and parabens in several product lines. The brand that teenage boys reach for, without a second thought every morning before school, is delivering a chemical system into their developing bodies that no parent was asked to consent to, because nobody put it on the label. Number 3. Johnson's Baby Wash. This is the one that makes parents the most upset when they find out. Johnson's Baby, the yellow bottle, the one in every hospital room, the one nurses use on newborns, the one that has been associated with infant care for over 100 years. If any product in the American home should be above suspicion, it is Johnson's Baby Wash. And for a long time, it was not what it should have been. Johnson & Johnson's baby products contained a formaldehyde-releasing preservative called quaternium-15, and the carcinogenic contaminant 1,5-dioxane. An investigation published in 2009 by the Campaign for Safe Cosmetics found both in Johnson's baby wash products sold in the United States. The same products sold in other countries at the same time did not contain them. Johnson & Johnson formulated out the carcinogenic contaminant for European markets because European regulators required it. They sold the version with 1,004-dioxane to American parents washing their newborns in it because American regulations did not require them to do otherwise. After years of public pressure and advocacy, Johnson & Johnson reformulated its American products by 2013 to remove the most concerning ingredients from its baby line. The reformulation took years of organized consumer pressure to produce. The company did not volunteer it. I will be honest about where Johnson's baby stands today. The current formula is significantly cleaner than what it was before 2013. But the history of that product tells you everything about how these companies make decisions when regulators are not watching. They gave American parents the version they could get away with, while selling the safer version in markets where regulators demanded better. That is the decision-making framework. And it applies to every brand on this list. Number 2. Dove Beauty Bar. Dove has spent decades telling you that it is different. The 1/4 moisturizing cream. The real beauty campaign. The dermatologist recommended positioning. The message that Dove is gentler than ordinary soap because it is technically not soap at all. It is a beauty bar. And that distinction is real. Dove Beauty Bar is a syndet bar, short for synthetic detergent, formulated differently from traditional soap. It has a lower pH and is genuinely less harsh on the skin than many of the conventional soaps on this list. Dove has done real things to earn some of its reputation. In 2026, Dove committed to removing triclosan and triclocarbon from its soap products, a move that was years in coming. But the Dove formula still contains synthetic fragrance across most of its product lines. It still contains parabens in several varieties. And in a product marketed specifically to women as the gentler, more caring choice, the paraben content sits alongside research that nobody at Unilever can claim ignorance of. Dr. Darbre's studies are cited in dermatology literature, oncology literature, and cosmetic safety reviews worldwide. Unilever knows exactly what the research says. They know that Dr. Darbre found parabens intact in breast tumor tissue. They know that a follow-up study found them in every single woman studied. They know that the EU restricted the same paraben types they are still using in Dove products sold in America. And they have not removed them from the American formula because the FDA has not required it, and their American customers have not demanded it loudly enough to make it worth the reformulation cost. The gentleness Dove promises is about pH. The parabens are still there, in the bar marketed to women. In the bar marketed to mothers for their families. In the bar marketed to the exact demographic that Dr. Darbre's research focused on. Dove knows. They chose the formula anyway. This is the moment in this video where I want to stop and say something directly to you. If you are a mother, if you have a daughter, if there is a woman in your life who you love, and who has been using one of these brands every single morning for years, share this video with her right now, before she gets in the shower tomorrow, before she reaches for that bar that has been in her bathroom her whole adult life. She does not have to take my word for anything. She can look up Dr. Philippa Darbre herself, the Journal of Applied Toxicology, Concentrations of Parabens in Human Breast Tumors, 2004. It is there. The follow-up study from 2012 is there. The EU restriction documents are there. Everything I am saying is verifiable and documented. Hit the like button if you think the women in your life deserve to know this before their next shower, and subscribe so you are here when we cover what else is hiding in the products you use every day without reading the label. Number 1. Procter & Gamble's entire bar soap and body wash portfolio, including Ivory, Olay, and Secret. This is the number 1 position on this list, not because Procter & Gamble makes the most chemically dangerous soap on the shelf. It is here because of scale, history, and a specific pattern of corporate behavior that makes it the most important name on this entire list. Procter & Gamble is the largest consumer goods company in the world. It controls Ivory, Olay Body Wash, Secret, Old Spice, Safeguard, Gillette, and dozens of other personal care brands that together reach the skin of a majority of the American population every single day. Ivory soap has been marketed as pure since 1879. The tagline was 99 and 44/100% pure, pure of what was never fully specified. The current ivory formula contains synthetic fragrance and sodium lauryl sulfate with its associated 1004-dioxane contamination risk. Olay body wash contains parabens, synthetic fragrance, and sodium lauryl sulfate. Secret deodorant, also Procter & Gamble, was the subject of the 2012 class action lawsuit over severe skin reactions. Here is the specific Procter & Gamble behavior that earns them the #1 position. Across multiple brands and multiple product categories, Procter & Gamble has maintained dual formulation standards for decades. Products sold in the European Union are reformulated to meet EU cosmetic safety restrictions. The same products sold in the United States contain ingredients that are restricted or banned in Europe. The European Cosmetics Regulation restricts certain parabens. Procter & Gamble reformulates for Europe. The American formula stays the same. This is not ignorance. This is not a resource constraint for the largest consumer goods company in the world. This is a deliberate commercial decision that your skin and your family's skin are absorbing the cost of every single day. When a company knows how to make something safer and chooses not to because the market they are selling to does not force them to, that is the definition of a decision that puts profit above the people using the product. You are not their priority. You are their margin. Now here are the 3 that are actually worth putting in your bathroom. Best option number 3. Kirk's Castile Soap. Kirk's has been making coconut oil Castile soap since 1839. That is not a marketing claim. That is a manufacturing history that predates every brand on the avoid list by decades. The formula is simple. Saponified coconut oil and water. No parabens. No sodium lauryl sulfate. No synthetic fragrance. No 1004-dioxane risk because there is no ethoxylation in the manufacturing process. No formaldehyde-releasing preservatives. The ingredient list is short enough to read in 10 seconds, and every item on it is identifiable as a real substance. Kirk's is available at Whole Foods, Walmart, and online at a price that is competitive with every brand on the avoid list. The fragrance-free version is the one to reach for. It is genuinely one of the cleanest personal care products available in the American mass market. No dual formulation, no EU version versus American version. One formula, the same one since 1839. The price is honest because the ingredients are honest. Best option number 2. Shea Moisture African Black Soap. Shea Moisture was founded by Richelieu Dennis, a Liberian immigrant who built the company in Harlem in the 1990s, using his grandmother's West African soap recipes. African black soap has been made in West Africa for centuries, using plant ash, shea butter, and natural oils. The tradition predates the industrial soap industry by hundreds of years. Shea Moisture's African black soap formula contains no parabens, no synthetic fragrance, no sulfates, no phthalates, and no formaldehyde-releasing preservatives. The ingredient list uses plant-derived surfactants and organic shea butter. The company is fair trade certified and cruelty-free verified by third parties. Shea Moisture was acquired by Unilever in 2017, which created some concern among its loyal customer base about whether the formulas would change. As of the most recent available ingredient panel data, the African black soap line has maintained its clean formulation. But it is worth checking the current label before purchase, because corporate acquisition of an independent brand is always the moment to watch the ingredient panel most carefully. For now, it holds up. Best option number 1. Dr. Bronner's Pure Castile Soap. Dr. Emanuel Bronner was a third-generation master soap maker from a Jewish family in Germany. His family's soap-making business went back to 1858. He came to America in 1929. His family did not make it out of Europe. Dr. Bronner spent years advocating for world peace and unity, and he put his philosophy on the soap labels, which is why the bottles look the way they do. He started making and selling his soap in 1948, and he never wavered from a single manufacturing principle: pure Castile soap. Organic ingredients, nothing synthetic, nothing hidden. He was doing this decades before it was a market position, decades before the word organic meant anything commercially. He did it because he believed it was right. Dr. Bronner's Pure Castile Soap is certified USDA organic. The oils, coconut, palm kernel, olive, hemp, and jojoba are all certified organic and fair trade. The formula contains 0 synthetic preservatives, 0 synthetic fragrance, 0 parabens, 0 sulfates, 0 phthalates, 0 formaldehyde-releasing compounds, 0 1004-dioxane risk. The ingredient list is 18 items long, and every one of them is a real substance you can identify without a chemistry degree. The baby unscented version is the one most appropriate for children and people with sensitive skin. It is the product Dr. Darbre would have the least concern about. It is the one that operates completely outside the industrial soap formulation logic that produced every brand on the avoid list. It costs more per bar than Irish Spring or Dial. That extra cost is the organic certification, the fair trade sourcing, the 75 years of refusing to compromise the formula to compete on price. You are paying for the absence of everything on the avoid list. That absence is worth more than the foam. Here is the one test worth doing before anything else. Go to your bathroom right now. Pick up the soap or the body wash sitting in your shower. Turn it over. Look for any of these words on the ingredient list. Methylparaben, propylparaben, butylparaben, sodium lauryl sulfate, SLES, fragrance or perfume on its own, without a disclosure of what is in it. DMDM hydantoin, quaternium-15, trichlocarbon. If any of those words appear on the label in your hand right now, you know what you are holding. And you know what has been absorbing into your skin every single morning while you stood in the shower thinking you were getting clean. Dr. Philippa Darbre spent her career asking the question that the soap industry hoped nobody would ask loudly enough. She asked it quietly, in a peer-reviewed journal, with documented evidence, and for over 20 years, the brands on this list have had access to that evidence and formulated their American products as if it did not exist. You have it now. Share this with every woman you know. Share it with every mother you know who is washing her children with one of these brands every single night at bath time. They are not bad parents. They are trusting parents. They trusted the label. The label was designed to be trusted. Now they know what is behind it.